Hello.
Hello, friend. It's so good to see you, Ro.
It's so good to see you. Gosh, how long has it been? How long have you been gone?
We're going on a tight 4 years. We're going on a really fierce 4-year stretch. It's
Oh
revenge.
my God, that's a long time.
Dude. It's a long time.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ontiveros. I am the founder of Slated Cinema, and we are here with
Ana Maria, hello. Come on, founder. We love to hear it. I'm Ana Maria. I am an actor, aerialist, belly dancer, a jack of all trades, little multi-hyphenate. I'm a born and raised Houstonian who relocated across the pond. I live in London now. That's me.
wonderful. We'd love to hear it. We all wear all the hats. So
You gotta. In this economy? Yeah.
got
Yeah, 100%.
it. Yeah. So you've been there 4 years then.
That's a degree. That's a college
Yeah.
degree. I feel, and I did
It
I did
is.
get a college degree, and that's what's crazy.
I was gonna say, didn't you go for school? Yeah, I love that. Good for you. I saw last night that you got your very prestigious visa for another, I guess, what, 5 years or for however
Yeah,
long?
that's why I was actually in Houston this summer. For all the girlies that saw me in the H, I was there for like 3 months, just working away, trying to get this visa and then waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I know a lot of people who didn't get
Oh,
it, so I was really stressed out. But I got it!
you're like, oh,
I got it.
I am not surprised.
Very
I
kind.
am not surprised
Very kind.
at all. No, I am so happy for you
Thanks, bro.
and getting that visa. I loved what you wrote, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But let's talk about makers. That's why I wanted to talk to you. I feel like I have watched that, grow since you started it. I mean, I'm a big Lord of the Rings nerd, not in the same way that you're like a Tolkien nerd at all by any means. I'm like,
Not
don't ask me
everybody
anything.
come on
I
in.
won't know, but I've seen all the movies like 100 times, all the extended editions, like all of it. So
Absolutely.
when you started that, I was so excited. I send them to my boyfriend because we're both big nerds about it. But like,
Period. Y'all are real Middle Earthlings.
yeah,
Y'all are in the zone.
yeah. No, it's so exciting, and I love that you got to talk to so many people at this point. Like, how did that start? Like, I know you're a big, Tolkien nerd, but like, is that kind of where that like came about?
100%. I like it all started, I feel like in 2022. I first came to London for my master's program, and that was before Elon Musk had just driven Twitter into the ground. Twitter was
Mm.
my spot, y'all. I'm still grieving. I've been saying for years that social media platforms are cities. It's like it's familiar faces around the block. There's a certain culture, a certain way of speaking, like certain tastes and dislikes. Like it's a city, and big tech came in and gentrified that city. Now everybody's moved out the block.
They did. That is so funny. Yeah, that is so
So
funny.
I was before that all went to the dogs, and the new Amazon show, the Prime Video show Rings of Power, had been announced, and like casting had been announced, and there were people of color in the show. Gasp! Oh God! Oh
I know.
God!
I know.
And racists were having a field day, and I think everybody was quite frightened of like being dogpiled, and so people weren't certain what to say. And I didn't have like the hugest following there, but my reach was sort of, whereas a lot of people have like wide and shallow reaches, like big following, not super engaged. I had a very narrow but deep engagement because people knew I was a community organizer for so long. So whenever I would like weigh in on something, they'd be like, oh, she's not just posting for clout. She actually does stuff offline. So I think that carried a bit of weight. And so when I started weighing into those conversations, people were like, oh, this is a good perspective. Hell yeah. And it caught the attention of Amazon. It caught the attention of some orgs in the Tolkien sphere. And I was just sort of brought into the fold, and I was just kind of the personality hire for a few years. I was like, I don't have a big following. I'm not a creator. I'm just here. I'm an armchair Tolkien expert. I'm just here.
Yeah, no, I mean,
You know what I mean? Like it's
that's so really incredible, though. I mean, like Prime and like whoever else that took notice, like they're like She's cool.
Yeah,
We
I was
like her,
like
and she's
I
smart.
was like, "You like the energy?" But so after doing that for
Well, it's like, not only are you smart, you're also very bubbly and very energetic, like, just very big
you.
personality, so, like, you are the first person that anyone will notice in a room, so,
So
like,
kind, bro.
not
I was
surprised.
screaming, "No, that's so kind," and I was just sort of, like, around for a few years, and, like, all of my friends were big creators in the Tolkien sphere, just, like, the biggest people on TikTok, the biggest people on YouTube, whatever, and so I was like, "I don't feel the need to weigh in. They've got it covered." Um,
Yeah.
and then in 2024, I started feeling an urge to contribute more actively towards that, like, digital space, but I was like, "I don't wanna be
Mhm,
another" my homies have the lore covered. They don't need another person explaining lore. What's my thing? Like, what's unique to me that I have to offer? And then I realized I'm
mhm,
one of the few, like, artists that I've met, who are, like, camera facing, front facing, and I was like, "Oh, like,
mhm,
that's a perspective I can share." I'm really interested in talking craft with people, and even, like, the folks I would meet
mhm,
from the movies or the shows or whatever, I realized that organically, face to face, our conversations would always turn into our shared background of artistry and our shared love of craft, and I was like, "Well, let's just do that." Let's do that. Tolkien was an artist himself. Like, let's ground this in the art of it all, especially as things are getting more and
mhm.
more commercial, especially as artists are becoming devalued through stuff like
Absolutely.
AI. Um, and so,
Mhm.
yeah, I just sort of worked for months to get all the assets ready and to get the vision ready, and then I launched it, and people wanna come on the show, and it's a real honor, and it's a real joy, and that's that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that because I think that's a part of, like, cinema that we don't get to see often, like, we don't get to hear from those people, like, we hear from, like, the big faces and the big personalities and the celebrities, but, there's people behind the scenes that have put in just as much work, if not more,
100.
that have did the heavy lifting, and it's like, I want to hear from those people. So when you started bringing them on, I'm like, that's so engaging, first of all, and it's so fun to just get all these tidbits about, like, the movies and the show, because that's what, I feel like the nerds watch, like, with the movies, like, the
The
behind the scenes and the special
appendices,
feature.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
growing up, I would my parents and I would rewatch the trilogy and the Hobbit movies every year around Christmas time, and I would make them
Mhm.
rewatch the appendices with me as well, which to be clear is like a bajillion hours, but every time I'm like, "Now we get
Yes.
to watch the making of the thing," and I know I'm not
Yeah.
alone in that, so people love to hear
Yeah.
about the work.
Yeah, I think that's where I like, in my little head where I knew that, like, that this is where I wanna be as far as, like, filmmaking, 'cause I grew up watching all of those things, the special features, the deleted scenes, and just seeing those people, become like a team and a family and, like, create something, I'm like, "Man, like, I'm missing out on something, like, that's where I wanna be."
Exactly. That thing of like, "Oh, magic is real and it's this, man, and it's this, and I wanna be a part of it."
Yes!
100%.
Yes, yeah. So I love that you're bringing those people, like, from behind the curtain, like, "Let's talk about you and the work that you've done." I think that's incredible.
Thanks, bro.
And then obviously the lore,
I
like,
love the lore.
I have learned so much from you, from just, like, the internet with the lore, like, it just gets, like, deeper and deeper, and I'm so, like, enthralled by it every time I learn something new, even with the movies, like, all the behind the scenes stuff. I feel like I see a new, like, BTS clip, like, every week.
100%.
I'm like, "Where was this hiding?" I guess in the hours-long appendices.
Right. It's amazing. There are truly,
But
like,
yeah.
endless depths to plumb, and then when you consider how talented the fandom and the wider community is as well, it's like there's so many artists who have never worked on official projects, but are just, like, incredible Tolkienites and craftspeople in their own right, like, it's just boy howdy, don't we live in a wide and wonderful world.
Yeah. Who has been, I guess, like, one of your favorites that you've spoken to so far? Oh, no, we don't pick favorites. Who's been fun, I guess, like, really fun.
I'm, like, dying. Okay, okay, okay. I don't know if I can pick a favorite because I feel like everyone's been so different, it's been such a delight. I will say a really
Mhm.
powerful moment for me was the first time I got to talk to Philippa Boyens, who's like obviously one of the like core masterminds behind the original films and is a huge reason I
Mhm.
am in the industry. And I met her at
Yeah.
New York Comic Con last fall, which is the first time she came on the show. Um, and I got to like look her in the eye and tell her she's the reason I'm an artist. And it was so lovely. And we had such a lovely chat. And I remember in the middle of the interview, she was talking about something. And then she, as an aside, she was like, and you'll get this because you're an artist. And then she said that and I was like, she's like,
Dead,
I'm
I'm
an
dying.
artist, which is just lovely and affirming. But now I think, I don't know, everyone's been so wonderful. I will
Mhm.
say, like, what some of like my favorite pieces of art that have ever been made in the history of the world are being made currently by Max Randolph, who is, I believe, my second guest. He is a blacksmith, and when I say he's a blacksmith, it like there are no words to encapsulate the enormity of how impressive his craft is. He like I genuinely
Yeah.
think Tolkien would be astonished and in awe of his work. And he's like a true ray of sunshine. And he and his wife are so precious and they live such beautiful lives and he makes such beautiful work. And I'm just like, and he's such good energy. And that episode I think was just really positive and hopeful and
Mhm.
wonderful. So yeah, shout out Matt.
Is that the one and yeah, is that the one where y'all were talking about you have to create crap
That
before you
is
can
another
create
Matt. Oh, no, 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 no. Sorry, we recently had a second Max who is an aircraft mechanic and a singer-songwriter, and his work is so cool, and he's so funny and amazing and lovely. But no, yes, you have
Yeah.
to that you have a good memory. That episode Randolph was
Yes.
like, yeah, you gotta make some crap, bro. Gotta make
Yeah,
some crap.
yeah, you really do. I love that little, like, bit of it because it's true. I think everyone thinks that the first thing that they put out has to be
Yeah, and
perfect.
it's not
Like,
gonna
they just
be. And
have
if you
to
keep
get
waiting for it to be, you're never gonna make anything at all, which is like something that all of us
Yeah.
struggle with.
Yes, yeah, so I think that's why that resonated because I'm like, yeah, like, you're right, like, you have to just make things, and then, that's how you get better, that's how you perfect your craft.
100%. I think about there's this is not like an underground author by any means. Brandon Sanderson is like one of the biggest authors arguably of all time at this point. He's I think currently
Mm,
the most best-selling fantasy author out right now. And he has an amazing free lecture series on YouTube, which I think is not only relevant to fantasy writers or writers in general, but any crafts people, any artists at all. And he gives advice
mhm.
about writing books, of course. And he's just like, your first book is going to be garbage. Like, there are few people in the world that are born with the light of the heavens in their spirit and they write their first book and it's perfect. He's like, yours is going to be garbage. And maybe your second and third and fourth and
Yeah,
fifth are going to be as well. And just hearing something so
yeah.
successful say that, great, great.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That's where I'm at. Like I've made a few things film wise and I'm like, yeah, like they are not great. They are not great, which is fine.
You
Which is
made
totally
one of
fine.
my favorite pieces of art to ever come out of Houston because I'm so space pilled.
Oh, I'm such a nerd for all the sci-fi
Absolutely.
things. I blame my father. He's very much that way. We grew up watching tons of sci-fi
My
together.
heart. I trust that.
Um Yeah, and I would not have anticipated that being the first thing that I ever put out at all. Like, I didn't know what I was gonna make first, and then Cinespace came up and, do you know Kiwi? You know Kiwi.
Yeah,
Kerwin?
sure.
Yeah, he was the one that was like, "We need to do this," and I was like, I mean, I don't know how," and he's like, let's just do it, let's just try."
Period.
And here we are. I actually am gonna show it in Austin in, like, 2 weeks. They asked me if I wanted to do a screening. I said, "Sure," for Hispanic Heritage Month.
Austin, pull up is gorgeous.
Yeah,
Big,
yeah,
yeah, you gotta have a homie
yeah.
sometimes who's like, let's just do it.
Let's just do it,
Yeah.
yeah, even if it's crap.
The
Even if it's
world
crap.
will keep turning. Like everybody's gonna be fine, even if we
Yes. Yeah, yeah. No, I love that, and that's what I love about the Maker series is just hearing from all these people and hearing like where they started
Right.
and it just kind of being this like adventure and like this growth. And I think watching your story feels the same way. Like you coming from Houston, like we met like on set like 5 years ago, like however long
Crazy,
ago.
yeah.
And it and now you're in London and you've been in London and you've been to like a Rings of Power premiere and you have this very beautiful YouTube channel that I'm, so fascinated with.
Thank you.
So I love watching that growth. And I don't know what I guess is your lore like when it comes to like, leaving Houston, wanting to leave Houston and going to London. Yeah, I know. I'm sure that's a big one,
Right, right,
huh?
right, 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 right. No, for sure. Well, I would say some of it is happy and some of it is not. I think I I always wanted to do the actor thing of like get the proper training because I was an actor for many years, but had never gone to like a drama school or a BFA program or anything like that. And even in undergrad, I had really wanted to study abroad for a semester and couldn't afford it. I majored in journalism um,
Mhm.
because, you know, immigrant parents are like, you want to do acting? And that was so valid of them. You know what I mean? That was such a normal, good thing for them to be looking out for me. But yeah, I'd always wanted to study abroad and I never got to, and I always wanted to major in acting and I never got to. And so then 2020 and 2021 were so fraught. For those who don't know, I was a community organizer, a leftist organizer, for many years. I'm starting in
Yeah.
undergrad and sort of spanning after I graduated, and then telling myself I was going to retire because it was very fraught, stressful work, for as you might
I'm
imagine.
sure.
And then
Yeah.
I started splitting more of my time between Houston and Austin after graduation, and I was like, I'm gonna retire, especially I'm, like, spending more time at my parents' house, like, if I get doxxed, that's one thing, if my family home gets doxxed, that's another thing, and so
Mm.
I retired for a few months, and then George Floyd got murdered in 2020, who was, of course, a Houstonian, and I watched my home city erupt, and I remember the first protest I went to, God bless the baddies of Houston. There were girlies in stilettos, like, nobody brought water, and
Oh my
I was like,
god.
"Period," you know what I mean? Uh, but I realized that, like, Austin has a real culture of protest because of UT that Houston doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
have, and so I was like, "Okay, let's, like" me and some friends, we're bringing, like, water to the next protest and masks and hand sanitizer and granola bars, just, like, sort of basic stuff. And, that's
Mhm.
when everyone got brutalized, by the cops, and
Yeah.
that's when
Yeah.
we
I remember.
started volunteering to help get protesters out of jail, and working with lawyers because
Mhm.
they were illegally detained.
Yeah.
And people kept sort of asking my friends and I, "What org are you with? What org are you with?" And we were just kinda like, Mutual Aid Houston, because Mutual Aid ATX was thriving at that point, and then it just kind of stuck,
Yeah.
and so I, you know, after retiring, ended up being a mutual aid organizer for some more
Yeah.
years, and that was actually even more traumatic than the anti-fash work, and
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
and I was like, "I do fear I gotta get outta here. I do fear
Yeah.
I do fear this."
I can't imagine what that was doing to you mentally,
I'm
so
still I still can't imagine. I think maybe that's something that I'll unpack in my 30s, you know what I mean?
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Fair.
but
Fair.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot. It seems, like, heavy, and I don't blame you for wanting to put some distance between that at all,
yeah, it felt like
but also pursue dreams at the same time.
100%. I was like, "Okay," like, I
Yeah.
think I shouldn't stay here. I should at least leave for, like, a year, and
Yeah.
it felt like, that hopeful period in summer 2021 when, like, the vaccines had just started getting introduced, and I was like, "Maybe it's over." And so, I that's when I, found the one program I wanted to go to in all of the UK and auditioned for that one program and then got in and yeah, the rest is history. I remember, yeah, flying at the height of the Delta variant, plane was empty. I was terrified. I had on, I think, 4 masks. Like, genuinely, it was so unserious. Like, just and, like, having to, like, stay in the hotel for 10 days to quarantine, and it was so stressful, but it ended up being worth it. 'Cause I just at that point, I couldn't bear doing another thing on the screen. I really wanted to
Oh,
audition
yeah.
in person. I was like, "I think if I get in the room, I'll get it." I don't yeah.
Yes.
Can't do it on
People don't think about that, and I feel like being in a room with someone and getting to speak to them, like, face to face is so much, I don't know, better than, trying to record something or trying to write something,
yeah.
like, how many times, have people read something that you wrote and were just like, "Mm, nah." Like, but they don't know you, they haven't met you, they haven't seen your face, they haven't had a conversation with you and just, like, felt, like, your presence,
Yeah.
and I think that's important, and you like I said, you have beautiful personality, so I can see you walking in the room and them shaking your hand like, "Yes, we want her." Absolutely.
It was either that or I remember the course leader, when it came to the interview portion, he had, like, everyone's apps printed out, and so everyone's just like, "This
Mhm.
tall and this tall," and then there was my stack. 'Cause baby, if you don't give me a word limit, Imma just keep going. Imma write my whole life
Yeah,
story, and you're gonna have to sit with that. And he was like,
I
"Wow,
love
your
that.
application was so thorough." Right.
You're like, "Well,
Mm.
there was no word limit."
That's on you, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that he, like, read it all though, like,
He's lovely.
I mean, you would think, like, they're like, "Oh,
Ooh.
no." No, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you've been there since then,
Ever
huh?
since, it's funny, it took a couple years to acclimate because I think I wasn't necessarily prepped for a
Yeah.
culture shock, so I was like, "We all speak the same language." Girl, it's different.
Mm-mm. It is so different. I've been once, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's different for
Very
sure.
different culturally,
But,
weatherly, all of it.
like, I'm sure it took time to adjust and acclimate, and, what is it that you said? You, like, become soft again. Like,
Yeah.
I loved that
Yeah.
in the posts that you made, being able to be soft again. That really, like, struck a chord with
'Cause
me.
it's a luxury.
Like,
Softness is such a luxury, and,
yeah, yeah.
I love Houston, and I feel like once you've organized for the welfare of a city, once you've literally bled for a city, that creates a really strong bond, and obviously grew up there, I was so rooted there, and that's why it took me so long to
Mhm.
find my place in London because for the first time, I was, like, really unmoored, but
Yeah.
there's something that happens to the spirit when, for years you've been in such life and death, high stakes constantly, and there's the threat of gun violence and the threat of tear gas, and the United States is so much more dystopian, currently and at that point
Mhm.
as well, and there's no healthcare, and everything is so bad all the time, and I come here, and it's all so whimsical, they have free healthcare, they have nice little trains, and the arts are better funded. They think their arts are terribly funded. I'm like, "Baby, you haven't seen anything." You haven't
Yeah,
seen how bad it
yeah,
can be, and, there's so much greenery, and it's, all lovely and out of a storybook, and I'm like, "Wow, I don't
yeah,
feel like I'm looking over my shoulder all the time. I don't feel like my cortisol levels are
yeah.
off the charts all the time," and wow,
Fighting for your life,
right.
yeah.
What a luxury.
It's like you're in survival mode here, like, 24/7, like, just trying to constantly, like, stay afloat, like, just in your work or just, financially in life, and I can see that just being such a, like like, exhale, like, you can breathe now, and I love that. I love that, you can be soft, you can be, the version of yourself that was you when you first came out, as opposed to, the hardened version of you that you had to become, like, being here in the States, being here in Houston especially.
100%. That's very much it, and, it really helps It's easier to be an artist when you're soft. It's difficult to
Yeah,
create from that hardened place, and it's also difficult to be open to other art from that hardened place. It's we Callus
it
is a
is.
callus, and it is as protective as it is a block. Um,
Yes.
so it's
Yes.
an exhale to be sure. We love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, like what's next? Like now that you can breathe a little easier now and you know that, your path is pretty secure for
For
now.
sure, knock on wood. They're trying to abolish my ability to stay in this country after 5 years. The far right everywhere is doing nonsense, but,
Nonsense.
knock on wood, we're gonna be here for a bit. I've got 5 years. If nothing else, I've
Yes.
got 5 years. So now for the first time, I'm not working a full-time job, I'm freelance, and so
Mhm.
I get to be an actor now.
That's so
So
exciting.
excited. I'm like, 'cause I'm spending, like, all this time taping in a way that I was having to turn down tapes constantly because I was like, "I can only justify
Mm,
taking off work if it's a big thing," and it's like, "Well, baby, you gotta do the small things to get
yeah.
the big thing," you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I'm like, "Wow, the system really is built to exclude people who are working class." Like, the system is not built for people who I'm because I'm like I'm because I'm doing so much free work now. I'm doing so much unpaid labor to be an actor,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh, like you really do it's built for nepo babies. It's built for the wealthy. It's
It
by
is.
design. It's
It
like
is.
this."
Yes.
So I'm being an actor, which is huge, and I'm having great fun with that while freelancing.
Yeah.
I am also in the process of developing a new show. Shout out. Let's
Exciting.
come on, new show. And we'll be
Mhm.
applying to a little bit of this, a little bit of that with it, see what sticks. So y'all stay tuned for that. I don't wanna give away too much, but I think this is gonna be my next
No, no, yeah.
next big work, capital B, next big work. So I'm really hype about theater making again as well.
Good, good, I love that. You were talking a bit about, like, I guess not the cultural differences, we were talking about just, like, the shock of being there. Has it been I don't know, like, are the Brits pretty welcoming to the fact that, you're very American, you're from Houston, Texas?
Mm.
Like, I feel like we open our mouths and they're like, "Oh, you're from Texas."
It is actually so funny. I get clocked as a Southerner here way more than I got clocked as a Southerner in the States because
Yeah,
accent is a
yeah.
very big deal here because everybody in the UK is class crazy because of the millennia of
Mm.
monarchy. Um, um, but no, are they welcoming? You know, I I have been very lucky to meet lovely people, and I'm very lucky in that I did a program here, so I have, like, a kind of built-in family with the people that I did my
Mhm.
MA with. Um, I think the British are very polite. I think sort of culturally and socially, London can be a bit impenetrable. I have found, the English outside of London to be so warm, so welcoming, so chill. I did,
Mhm.
like, a solo trip
Mhm.
in Southwest England at Dartmoor National Park. If y'all have never been, please go. And everyone there was so hospitable. It felt like that kind of warm hospitality that we're used to as Southerners. Um,
Yes, yeah.
in London, I think there's a bit more maybe it's adjacent to how in, like, New York, it's a lot more like everybody's on their grind, like, mind your business, da 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 da.
Yeah,
But ultimately,
yeah.
people are really nice, you know what I mean? If you come in with good energy, you'll be met with good energy. Um,
Yeah.
it really depends on the space, it really depends on the yeah, on where you're at, but it is sort of an interesting relationship with Americanness here that I didn't necessarily anticipate.
Yeah, yeah. Even I guess would you say the same for I guess, the makers and, like, the Tolkien community? Like, I know
Every
is that, like, just warm?
so warm,
I'm curious if
so warm.
yes, yeah, I'm not
What I will say about just, like, the Tolkien sphere writ large, offline, online, I have had like almost 100% across the board positive experiences. Like everyone is so, and I really think that is reflective of the core text. You know what I mean? Like something so
Mhm.
lovely and something so built on fellowship and choosing
Yes.
to be good every time, despite. I find that to be really reflective of the wider community, despite, regardless of nationality, regardless of background, the Tolkien sphere has been so welcoming in every country and every city and every demographic.
I love that, and I love what you've done with Makers of Middle-earth. I think it's incredible, and I can't wait to see, like, what's next for it and what you continue to do with it and who you continue to speak to. Like, I am all ears for that, so congratulations on
Thank
that.
you, bro, and thank you for tuning in. It means a lot. I was like, I don't know if anybody's gonna find this interesting, so I'm delighted.
No, I love them. I send them to my boyfriend, and the guy that you interviewed, the one that does the airplane
Max,
facts.
literally one of my favorite people in the whole world now. I'm
Yes, like, he was, the other, like, presence on the internet with the Tolkien lore that I was always like, "This is so, so funny." So, I love that y'all connected, and I was like, "This is everything to me."
literally, it's so funny. We've been mutuals for so long, and I was just like,
Mhm.
"Let me get Max on the show." He's fully an artist. I was like,
Yes.
let's get," and it was
Yeah.
so funny because I felt like I was like, "Love is energy." I feel like the vibes will be great, and the vibes were in fact great. So big fan of Max, rooting for him forever.
Yeah, love that, and thank you again for getting to sit down and talk to me about it. I think it's going to be very inspiring to hear, someone from our hometown, from Houston, following, like, their path and their dream and, like, pursuing that, like, wholeheartedly the way that you have, and, despite, a lot of the things that happened here or just happened when you got there, like, I'm sure it was not an easy journey by any means.
Yeah, I think sometimes you really gotta take a leap, and, like, to be clear, Houston is what got me here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My best friends are still in Houston, my, like, support network is still
Mhm.
there. I Every time I come back,
Mhm.
I, like, cry a little bit because, like, the big wide sky and the streets welcome me home, and I remember
Yeah.
for the first time in my entire life, decided to, like, crowdfund before my big move. And, like, the
Mhm.
community really showed out, like, the community helped me pay for grad school in London, like, we as Houstonians deal with so much, and Houston is very much the canary in the coal mine for what's going to happen to the rest of the country. I could talk for
Yes.
hours about how people deride the South, and I'm like, "The South is where all so many of the people of color are, and the South is where." Have you heard of gerrymandering? Have you heard what are you talking about? We
Yeah.
got good food, and y'all and
Yes.
anyways,
Mhm.
Houston is very much the canary in the coal mine for the way the rest of the
Yeah.
country is gonna be treated in 3 to 5 years, and, like, we just
Mhm.
deal with so much, and yet Houstonians are so warm and so loving and so fierce, yeah, I that's why my poem about leaving Houston was complicated because it's
Yeah.
hard to leave that behind, but yeah, wouldn't be here or who I am today without my city, bro.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think, the artists here are, they understand that, like, we understand the place that we're in here, and so we feel like we have to uplift one another,
Yeah,
and I think this has been, very, inspiring for me, and that's part of the reason why I was like, I would love to speak to you about all of this, so thank you
of
again.
course, thank you. I am hoping listen, baby, once I make it, and I say once, when I make it, baby,
When? When?
you know what I mean? Baby, we're feeding back into the city. We're getting all the
Yes,
homies work produced, like, we are creating new infrastructure of art, and
exactly.
the city is all happening. Mark my words.
Yep.
Mark my
Yeah.
words.
Yep, that's the mindset always. I have to stop saying if this happens. It's when
It's
it happens.
when per it's yours.
Mhm.
It's all yours,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And now I'm here, with this magazine, getting to talk to you in London, so
And I was so excited because I was like, "Bring back magazines. Bring back." things that
Yes! Physical media, art, yes.
maybe the digital
Yes.
media is about to get ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
dude.
Mm.
So, yeah, we're excited. We're trying to take it to print at least 3 times a year, so
Fun.
I'll probably be reaching back out to you for some little
Oh,
tidbit that we can include, so
absolutely. I've always got a million things going on. Baby, I learned to sail 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? There's always something to talk about.
Yep,
Period.
yep. Love that. Well, thank you again. I'll let you get about the rest of your evening in London. I know you have a belly dancing.
Fully am performing tonight, which we love. Shout out.
Love that for you.
Yeah.
Love that for you. Well, thank you again so much, and we'll talk soon, hopefully, and
Thank you for having me
watch
on.
some makers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you
Yeah.
soon. Mwah.
Bye-bye.